What Michigan State, that's their backbone. That's what they pride themselves on, is trying to win up front. We'll see if they can today.
Ryan Day won the toss, elected not to put Stroud on the offense on the field. So Jaden Fielding, walk-on freshman kicker, will boot it away. Tyrell Henry, true freshman returner, back deep for Michigan State. Spartans need a lot of things to go right today. They need some breaks, need to take the football away from Stroud. It's something they haven't done all year. Hinton Thorne needs to have a big ball game. It's a proud DNA in this program, though. It's a program of battlers. And they say they will put up a fight today. Line drive kick, and it's out of bounds for the third time.
Yeah, the crowd loves that.
Year. Ryan Day didn't.
No.
He just had the black strip removed from his helmet, which is kind of your welcome to the Buckeye fraternity this week. And he's just gifted the Spartans field position of the 35. So we'll see Peyton Thorne, redshirt junior out of the Chicago area. Not been the kind of year he expected. 6 interceptions, only had 1 pick at this point a year ago.
And that's it. I mean, 6 interceptions. He's got to take care of the football, obviously, today, and make good decisions. The little things that made him so effective last year. Obviously, without Kenneth Walker, this has been a different offense.
Running back by committee. They went back to the portal. This is Jalen Berger, who was a Wisconsin Badger. He gets the start and gets a yard on the first play. The impact players when the Spartans have the football.
Well, that first play is an indicator of what I think. It may be tough to run the ball. Jaden Reed on the outside. Keon Coleman also. So you see 1 and 0. Got to be able to win outside and win in space. Tommy Eichenberg's been incredible. With Jim Knowles bringing in a new defense, he's the leader up front, making a lot of tackles. 35, and Ronnie Hickman, man, all over the place. It's the run and the pass.
Thorne looking to throw on second long, loops it to the edge, and it's a nice pitch and catch. And that is Jaden Reed. They've been playing football together since the 6th grade. Great chemistry.
Yeah, and that's one of our impact players. They got to win one-on-one on the outside and get isolated against Cam Brown, who's back from an injury. Locates the football late, but that is a perfectly thrown ball by Peyton Thorne. We just said his decision-making and his accuracy's got to be on point. In his first opportunity, he throws it to his main target, number 1, Jaden Reed.
20-yard gain. Spartans looking for a positive start. It's been anything but in recent games. Typically have fallen way behind and become one-dimensional. It happened against Minnesota on this field, their last home game. Happened at Maryland last week.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. You get to this point in the season, you know that the littlest things that you practice all off season, they come into play, and you're either going to win games because of that or lose them. But that last play, physical hitting, which you'd expect again in this Big Ten game.
Off the play action, Thorne on the run, zips it, and it's bobbled and caught by Reed. Did not collect it. I thought he was able to grab it, but it hits the ground.
I think he may have stepped out of bounds with his left foot, and he was not pushed out of bounds. See that left foot? I don't think it was about the catch itself. I think he was just an ineligible receiver.
And they definitely signaled incomplete. I think that now they're having a consultation here. Mike Cannon in charge of this Big Ten crew.
Yeah, I just happen to. Yeah, I just happen to be watching him. Yeah.
Number 1 went out of bounds. Came back in. He was the first player to touch.
If you're forced out, it's okay, but he's ran out on his own here.
Yeah, he's at the bottom. A little bit of coverage there, but he's just trying to make a play. Loses. I mean, he barely steps out of bounds. Denzel Burke in coverage and zone. Again, Jaden Reed, Ohio State. If you're gonna ID anybody, it's Jaden Reed's big play ability. That time he just lost where he was on the field, just stepped out. It looked like he stepped out of field by maybe 5 or 6 inches.
Look, we're a minute and a half in, Kirk, with this 3rd down play for the Spartans is opening possession. Maybe
big one.
4 down territory here for Mel Tucker. Elijah Collins is the back. Buckeyes rush 4, so Thorne has time and looks down the middle for Reed, and it's intercepted. Forced into triple coverage, and it's intercepted by Cam Martinez. The 7th of the year for Thorne.
Well, really really good job here in the back end by Ransom. Watch what he does here. He's showing two, and then watch after the snap what he does. Just reads the eyes. He gets back. He knows there's a threat to this ball being thrown deep right away. Eyes on the quarterback, knows the ball's potentially going to come, and then just beats Reed to the point. You know, he has corner skills, but back there at safety, they'll put him at slot. They'll let him play back on the deep end, as he did right there. But there's an idea of what number 12 can do for this Ohio State defense.
Secondary that's getting back healthy. Tanner McAllister, Cam Brown.
Yeah.
What's been a pretty beat-up unit for the Ohio State defense. So we're going to review and see if Ransom, in fact, did collect it. But there's an example of Peyton Thorne pressing.
Yeah.
He wants to get the ball to Reed.
Yeah.
He did it.
Third, you just talked about it maybe being 4-down territory. Ball maybe bobbles as he goes down. Heck of a play. Good job on the range. Gets the shoulder down. I don't really see the ball from that angle, obviously coming close to hitting the ground. He did a heck of a job, by the way, with all his momentum coming down, the presence of mind to just turn slightly. Right there, he could just easily fall, but instead he knows he's got to turn that body to try to protect the ball. He's got the left forearm underneath it. Good job taking a peek, but that's definitely secured, and that's an interception.
Ken Kestner, the replay official. Bill Lamont in the booth with this. Bill, how did you see this one?
From the first look, I thought it was a clean catch all the way, but watching this here, as he goes to the ground, there is a slight movement of the ball.
Really? I thought his forearm got underneath that.
But is a slight movement of the ball enough to turn it over?
I thought even if there was movement, that arm being underneath there was keeping him from getting to the ground.
Yeah, the nose of the ball came down, but if he still maintained firm control, he's okay. And if I could, just on that previous one where the receiver went out of bounds,
yeah,
technically that's a catch, but it's a foul for illegal touching. So that's the problem on that. The signal for the incomplete pass was incorrect.
Perfect.
But it is a catch.
Okay.
Swing pass to Henderson, and he is tracked down and tackled behind the line there. C.J. Stroud, absolutely on fire against Michigan State a year ago. A modest game, wasn't required to do too much in the win against Rutgers.
No, but he will be today. We'll see how this offense handles the wind. You know, both coaches, when I was down on the field, they both said, you know, this wind, you know, how's it going to, Ohio State was saying, I hope this wind dies down. You know, we don't want it to hurt our passing game and what CJ can do.
On the end around. And that's Egbuka breaking free and shows the speed. The man has become a clutch receiver, makes a play as a runner.
This is one of those offenses where it's hard to pick an impact player. You know, TreVeyon Henderson's coming back. You got to put him out there. Julian Fleming, Egbuka, who we just saw. Windman on the outside. He can transfer from UNLV. Really can apply pressure. Keep an eye on 4. And then Gross. They'll move him all over the place. Does a good job in the back end. Also on the slot.
Stroud off target, trying to find Egbuka there.
You know,
Gross is their best cover guy. They're going to have to hope some guys can step up and overachieve. This has been a very, very rough pass defense.
It has been, but one of the ways, if you can't get to him because the ball's out so fast, and you saw that last play, at least you get into the face and push that offensive line back into C.J. Stroud.
Delay a handoff, and shaking and baking is Henderson, who's got blazing speed. Had a quiet year because of the foot injuries we talked about, but moves the ball inside the Spartans' 40.
This play is designed here, but he pauses a little stutter step and then backside. That's why those backside blocks are so important. Look at this. You think you're in trouble here, but he feels it, and he's able to work to the backside, picks up a couple nice blocks there on that backside. Donovan Jackson, 74, and you give him just a little bit of room, and he can go.
26-yard gain. The play action, Stroud on the roll, lofts the pass out, and Egbuka's got it, and he's into the red zone. Making plays on the run has been an area of improvement for CJ this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see Stover, the tight end, going in motion. He's going to work out to the flat. When he works to the flat, watch how it catches the attention of Michigan State for an easy throw on a levels concept to go up and over number 15. He just feels that. You know, you're going to sit back, I'll throw it underneath. You're going to come up on the tight end, no problem. Take the throw that I really want, go open over top for a nice play.
In the flat, and the catch made immediately. Hit over there is Cage Stover, the tight end, hit behind the line. And it's Cal Halliday, leading tackler on this defense.
Halliday and Stover. You talk about, like, that'd be a great cage match, those two guys going against each other. Ohio State, they get down in this area, you see the graphic, they know what to do. They take care of business because of the quick decision making of C.J. Stroud.
Stover's got about 25 pounds on it, but Halliday's a tough
guy. He is.
Stroud lost to the pylon. Harrison's got it. Flag out. Touchdown signal. In the jump ball situation, Harrison beat Charles Brantley, and the Buckeyes strike again on their first possession. Pattern all year.
Well, beautifully designed play where he sends two receivers vertical. Safety stays to the inside. Egbuka creates one-on-one to the outside, and that's just your players better than theirs. Put it up and let Marvin Harrison Jr. fight for the ball. Catch radius is amazing. 6'4", 205, the son of the Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison. Shows you how tough he can be in that red zone with the length and then the toughness to pull that away for the touchdown.
Buggles with the PAT. Yes, 6'4" beats 6 foot. Harrison, 7 touchdowns on the season. One of the leaders in the country in that department. And once again, Ohio State front running.
We're Carvana, the company who invented car vending machines and
80-yard, 7-play touchdown drive. C.J. Stroud with his 63rd career touchdown pass. He's now tied with Justin Fields. Trails only J.T. Barrett, considered mostly a runner in his Buckeye career, but he has the school record for TD passes by a lot. C.J. some work to do to catch him.
2014. Ohio State came into East Lansing, and J.T. Barrett in Ohio State, that was a turning point in their season on the way to a national championship, was he hit Michael Thomas on a quick slant. We got Ohio State to kind of throw their hat in the ring in the discussion about that first playoff, and eventually they went on to win.
Touchdown pass at all 18 of Stroud's career starts. By the way, his first career touchdown was right here for C.J. Stroud, a 46-yard run of all things a couple of years ago. Fielding this time does what he's supposed to do, boots it into the end zone.
And we already showed you this touchdown pass. Great play by Harrison. But I want you to show why the NFL loves C.J. Stroud. Watch this throw and watch how the line gets pushed back to him. In fact, TreVeyon Henderson does. Watch his feet, how awkwardly he can't extend, and he just flips the ball and gives his receiver a chance to make a play. And that is not an easy thing to do when that offensive line's coming back into your face, and you've got to sit in there and be able to, your feet are kind of getting twisted, and you flip it with your wrist. Kid is at a different level.
His counterpart, Peyton Thorne, will have to shake off the interception. And it's a keeper and a kid from Naperville, not known as a big runner, but it picks up 8 yards there. We check in with Kevin Nagandi for Studio Update. Hey, Kevin.
ESPN family of networks. We've got baseball on the schedule. How about this, the wild card weekend? The Blue Jays trying to stay alive at home. Meanwhile, the Rays and Guardians, no offense. It's scoreless over on ESPN2 in the 13th inning. Carolina up by a touchdown on ESPN News.
On 2nd and 2, and it's dropped out there by Jaden Reed. And this is one of those third down plays where there is some urgency. It's going to be a long day for the Spartan defense. They have trouble defending the pass, and Stroud's on fire. So just to get something going, to get the first down.
Absolutely. You and I called here. You and I called that game last year. It was 21-0 in the first quarter. And I think within the first play or two of the second quarter, 28-0. A lot of these players on both teams were on that field that day, and you don't want to go down that road if you're Michigan State.
Warren scrambling. There's a flag down. It's incomplete anyway. So what looks to be a holding penalty will be declined. And the Spartans about to send the punt team out.
Jared Horst with a tackling penalty on the left tackle. I don't know, Bill, if there's such a thing as a tackle by the offensive tackle, but big fella on third down.
It won't matter.
Tuimoloau.
Offense, number 79. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Tuimoloau out on the outside, who's a very athletic. He wraps up, brings him down, throws him to the ground. Pretty easy call, but gives you an idea what Ohio State, when they know you're throwing, they've got some speed. They have difference makers on the edge, and getting after the quarterback puts a lot of pressure on the offensive tackles.
Well, they do have the Ray Guy front runner. They got that going for him. Bryce Baringer has been an outstanding punter, averaging more than 53 yards per punt. Led the Big Ten a year ago, and he hits a line drive. Look at this missile, and they do that well here. Egbuka backpedals all the way to the 10-yard line. It's about a 57-yard punt with a swirling wind here.
Yeah. Nice.
Tonight, Capital One presents Saturday Night Football, Chestnut Hill. Clemson Tigers big favorites against Boston College. 13-1 is Davos Media against BC.
You and I had Clemson last week along with Holly, and I think we all left Death Valley thinking, well, this team looks good. DJ Uyunglele making some good throws. Now they go on the road. A lot of people all of a sudden thinking, maybe old Clemson's back to being Clemson. We'll see tonight. See if they can follow up last week's impressive.
See more next week. They got Florida State on the road in prime time. Henderson tries to find some space on the right, makes a cut, and is knocked down after about an 8-yard gain. Jaden Mangum is a true freshman being pressed into duty at safety.
Outside zone, meaning you're going to stay on your tracks, be patient, and then get north and south. Watch the patience here. Watch how he sets up these linemen, and then he puts his foot right there, is able to get upfield in a hurry.
Stroud rolls out. He hits Stover, who was being grabbed. No flag there. He makes the catch, and they move the sticks anyway.
Ryan Day, typical Ryan Day. A mix of formations, personnel groupings, the spacing in their passing game. Just hard to get a rhythm or a feel for what's coming next with how they like to attack. They go into the boundary, they go out to the field, they have different players that are making plays. Haven't yet gotten Julian Fleming involved yet, but they will soon. Number 4, who's off to the right of Stroud, but they're mixing it all over the place.
Henderson knocked out. Second quarter of the opening game, a win over Western Michigan. They lost Xavier Henderson, their 3-year starter at safety, the leader, the heartbeat of the defense, and Darius Snow, who's lost for the season. They hope to get Henderson back. So, second quarter opening game, Mel Tucker knew there's going to be big trouble for this defense with those guys going out. Then the injuries have piled up since then.
Yeah, because they started off with a couple wins, and they got to Seattle against Michael Penix, the former IU quarterback, who's off to a pretty good start with Washington, and they've lost a couple in a row and lost their way, and now here comes Ohio State into town.
And it's intercepted. He threw it right to Charles Brantley, and Brantley to the house. The first interception of the season for Michigan State.
Great awareness by Brantley to come up with the interception. A miscommunication with C.J. Stroud and Egbuka, the receiver. Egbuka's running this downfield. He's trying to go vertical. And to Brantley's credit, he had his eyes in the backfield. Saw the throw. Egbuka didn't even know the ball was in the air. And Brantley stepped in front of it. You said it, Chris. Spartan's first interception of the year, and it's a pick 6.
Stroud's now throwing a pick in 3 consecutive games. Brantley's the guy that made the one-handed pick against Michigan, helped seal that signature win for the Spartans a year ago. So he's got a knack as a playmaker. And finally, a big takeaway for the secondary.
You'll see in the background as this camera will roll. Look to your left. You see the receiver going down the sideline. No idea. See, it starts to hang his head, knowing that Brantley had picked it off, and he's heading the other direction. Just like that, Spartans tie it up.
It had been 84-zip in first half scoring since then, until that pick 6.
Wow. Gets the stadium back in the game. Gets Michigan State to believe.
Crowd was no doubt thinking, uh-oh, after that quick Ohio State touchdown. This place can be raucous and rowdy and super supportive. We've seen that over the decades. You can also turn on the team. There were some boos of the Spartans in their last home game here when they were getting destroyed by Minnesota. But this pick has improved the move.
Yeah, I think you go back, you see pre-snap where you have two safeties right here. Receiver reads this, but watch what happens at the snap of the ball. Snap of the ball, the safeties give a different look. This safety comes down, this safety's in the middle, so now it's one high. So it's an adjustment. You wonder if the younger receiver, Egbuka, should have run just a hitch, just settle there, and the coverage is different. They're trying to get on the same page, make sure they're understanding pre-snap. You can't predetermine. It's got to be a pre-snap to post-snap read, not just by the quarterback, Stroud, but by his receivers. Everybody has to read the same thing and be on the same page because of the adjustment of the routes based on coverage.
Henderson hit and knocked down behind the line. Strong play coming off the corner there by Angelo Gross, the nickelback.
Good job on the inside here, using quickness, and then you have two different defenders. Gross on the outside, see motion, nobody there to pick him up, but good job of getting inside penetration as well by this Michigan State defense. Got a little bit of momentum right now. There's Michael Fletcher there.
Unusual to see Egbuka and Stroud not on the same page. He's become the favorite target with Smith and Jigba out. 3 straight 100-yard receiving games. Modest game against Rutgers last week. Henderson back in action with that foot injury, healthy enough to go today. Gets that out across the 30.
Some of the
third down.
Chris, with some of the injuries to the back end, you're seeing some younger players. Jaden Mangum was involved in that interception, mixing around and disguising coverage. You saw him come up and run support there, pretty strongly hitting TreVeyon Henderson.
And a huge problem for this Spartans defense to get off the field on 3rd down. This is an important play early if they're going to get a build on this momentum. Buckeyes need 4. Stroud zips it wide open, a total bust, and Egbuka's running free. All the way for an Ohio State touchdown. Miscommunication that time was by the defense. 69-yard strike.
You're right. Miscommunication. Look how they walked so many people up. They're showing man-to-man on the outside, right? Well, watch at the snap of the ball. They drop out, rush 3 and drop 8, play zone. The problem is they bust a zone. Nobody gets into that back third to take away the threat of a downfield throw. We talked about some of the youth that they have on the back end. And it's one thing to be able to show coverage and go to another. But as Michigan State just showed you, sometimes with younger defensive backs, you try to do too much, and it becomes a little bit overwhelming, and you get some mental errors.
So the Buckeyes strike quickly and reclaim a 7-point lead.
So you've taken up running.
Ian down in Florida. redcross.org/ESPN. Your donation provides communities affected with food, shelter, relief supplies, support, and other assistance. So Stroud has been pushing the ball downfield and cutting into this Michigan State defense that vowed to be far less vanilla. We'll talk more about that. The attempt to outwit Stroud pre-snap, they weren't going to try. They were trying to look identical every snap and then change at the last second.
Yep.
Outfoxed themselves last time. And Henry makes the fair catch.
This is exactly what you're talking about. A 3rd down, show blitz, man-to-man. Watch Gross on the inside. Look out at the young corner, and he tries to make a call right as the ball snapped. They end up both being in the flat. Brantley, who just made the pick 6, is probably supposed to be dropping back. There's no way Gross and Brantley should be in the same spot. Nobody picks the fade out of the slot down the sidelines because nobody's back there. Probably should have been Charles Brantley. Nonetheless, as you said, sometimes you want to mix those looks up, and a tough thing to do with young defensive backs.
Scotty Hazelton knows they've been far more vanilla than he wants with those 5 starters out so far this year. He knew that wasn't going to get it done today. And being hit behind the line is Jalen Berger. Big fella, Termon Vincent, busted through to the backfield.
This is not an ideal play where your guard works around and you leave Vincent where he can just work right in through the middle of that offensive line. Nobody picks him up. Vincent's been having a solid year. You know, the edge pressure gets so much attention, but if you talk to this Ohio State coaching staff led by Larry Johnson up front, he'll tell you Vincent Hall been terrific.
2nd and 15, Thorne across the middle. Gets about 5 yards back to Trey Mosley, fourth-year receiver who goes over 1,000 career receiving yards with that reception, but it sets up a 3rd and long. There's Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson, great coaches. We'll talk more about him throughout the broadcast. I know Holly has so much admiration, respect for him. She's right
there,
standing there. But I think this right now, the field's starting to tilt. Doesn't it feel like that? Ohio State's up front, really getting after Thorne.
They rush 4. Thorne has a little time, pats the ball, can't find anybody. Now tries to make something happen in the move and lofts it downfield as a man, and they're going to get bailed out by a pass interference. Keon Coleman was behind Cameron Brown, the underthrown ball into the wind, but they get the PI.
Yeah, that is a huge win for Peyton Thorne.
Pass interference. Defense, number 26. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Yeah, Cam Brown put his eyes into the backfield and playing man-to-man on 3rd down. Pretty good job by the Michigan State offensive line, but when you lose the ball, as we always see, and the ball is underthrown, receiver works back, defensive back has no idea where it is, and receiver runs right into the defender, prevents him from getting there. It's interference.
You know, his ball skills, you get rusty. Cam Brown's been out. He had a good week of practice. He comes back. But when they're out, we've seen that with Denzel Burke, another corner for Ohio State, trying to get back to game tempo and make plays. In the flat, they flip it to Mosley, and Spartans are in Ohio State territory for the 2nd time today.
That's a good way to slow down this edge pressure. Zach Harrison's been a force, even though he's not coming up yet with a sack. He's been pushing that offensive tackle into the backfield and getting close. So a 1st and 10 play action, you go right around him with Thorne. You slip a receiver out in the flat, uncovered, came from the left, worked back to the right. Nobody picks him up. Nice play.
Thorne surveying, and plenty of time on the play clock. Into the slot, slant to Mosley, and he picks up 5.
That's all Peyton Thorne. You see that all over in football. And soft coverage instead of trying to run into that defensive line, just throw it.
And Buckeyes not lined up. They're playing with tempo, thrown into traffic there. That's Mosley, makes the catch. That time he beat Ransom. Now they're saying incomplete. They conferred, initially called it a catch, and now they'll say no catch.
Well, that was a heck of an effort. I thought, what a throw, too, by Thorne. He threw that on a rope to be able to get it in there. Mosley kind of stalk blocks, tries to be a decoy. They're going to take a peek at this. Let's see, back shoulder, comes back. Oh, the ball touches late. That's incomplete.
The very last second, Mosley was trying to pin it against his shoulder pad and watches the nose of the football right there touches, Bill.
Yes, he came back over. He had not finished the process of the catch. The ball was not firmly controlled, hits the ground, incomplete pass.
The two officials sprint toward each other. One of them had a look at that angle you're talking about. The other one couldn't see the ball hit the ground.
Bill, how do you you're decisive and you just, boom, it's it, that's it. And yet, it seems like with the replay, we take a peek and we look for several minutes. You just right away, you just said, it's incomplete.
Well, the official who's downfield, he can't see the ball anymore because players are in the way. So he made an assumption that he maintained control of the ball.
Yeah.
The official coming down from the short side, he had a view of the ball and saw that ball out touch the ground.
So it'll be 3rd down, assuming this call of incomplete stands. And you know, Michigan State, we said they needed a lot of things to go right. At the top of the list was the takeaway. The first pick of the year is a pick 6, so the offense gets helped out.
Yeah,
they get helped up with the pass interference on this drive. Now they've got a 3rd and 4.
Yeah, and you know, they try to complete the process of the catch. These defensive backs, they never give up on plays. And I think it wasn't the ground; it was more Ransom finishing the play.
Moving on the field stands, incomplete pass.
I think. You know, watch Ransom. I mean, great play. He sees the ball late, but a heck of an effort. Just great execution. But as that ball goes down, I think Ransom's awareness, not there reaching in, but as he came down, his shoulder or his forearm looked like it came down on the ball, and that's what I think eventually got that ball loose.
Another guy that returns and been hampered by injuries earlier in the season. So the Spartans, I think it's 4-down territory every time they get in Ohio State territory, frankly.
Well, with C.J. Stroud and company on the other side, you're right.
Elijah Collins, the veteran special team star, has been getting increasing carry as a tailback, is behind Thorne. He's got the football, hammers ahead, and Thorne is a popular guy because he stars on all 4 special teams. He's paid his dues. Remember, he was a featured back. 2019, he had almost 1,000 yards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, a veteran guy. They're going to go fast here after they pick up the first down. They're still trying to move the chains.
Now, there's a false start. Ohio State wasn't lined up. Thorne likes to operate in this no huddle with tempo. They just don't get enough first downs to do it consistently, frankly.
I think they're trying to move the chains there, Bill.
They're not going to have a false start here because the ball wasn't ready for play.
Right.
Okay.
Until the ball's made ready for play, there's no false start.
Before the ball was marked ready for play. There will be no play. We'll repeat first down.
You've called a couple games in your day.
We'll start on my signal.
Blind squirrel finds an egg.
I mean, there's tempo, then there's frantic. There was no way they were ready to run a play.
Marked for play, but what are you doing?
No, because they're trying to go a little too quick. Let the officials do their job, huh?
There it is again.
Ball out very quickly to Mosley. And he's going to be tackled after a very short gain there by Tanner McAllister.
Just an alert that's on with all their run plays. If you see soft coverage, don't run into the defense. Just take the throw, get some positive yards. Linemen in the backs run a run play, and Thorne's the one who sees the coverage and just flips it out there.
Mosley's been the top target so far, 4 catches already. Thorne on the move, directing traffic downfield, and will run it, but he'll be hit right at the line. That's Eichenberg in the open field, top tackler on this defense.
That's a tough thing to do when you're a middle linebacker. Watch him here look and feel the crosser. So he's kind of sitting out in space. He knows that tight end's coming around. Watch him turn his body. He's in coverage. Then he comes back and makes a play in the open field.
Captain of this defense, proving a lot of people wrong. Kirk, as you know, he was criticized last year. Didn't meet his own standard as a player.
Rose Bowl defensive MVP.
And a very strong junior season. 3rd down again for the Spartans. They need 6. Thorne under pressure. He'll be dropped. Ohio State and Jim Knowles dialed up, and Eichenberg was a terrific pass rusher. Gets home.
They bring a look. This is what Jim Knowles is known for. You have Eichenberg here, but watch on the inside the quickness of Michael Hall, 51. I mean, he is a powerful, quick man. He gets in there. You also have the linebacker blitz. If Jim Knowles gets you to 3rd and long, he will dial it up. A lot of different ways to create confusion.
Eichenberg gets sacks not because he's the most explosive athlete. He's just really savvy. And Knowles says he knows exactly the proper angle, how to get to the quarterback. 4 sacks for a guy who was not really known as a pass rusher. He leads the defense in sacks. So that loss means that Mel Tucker's not going to try for it on 4th down. And Behringer does an excellent job of pushing it down there, and it's covered at the 3-yard line. Tonight, Major League Baseball continues on both ESPN and ESPN2. Wild card series between the Padres and the Mets. Visitors winning in Citi Field last night. 8:30 ESPN2. Phillies Cardinals from St. Louis, both games streaming live and on the app. Visiting teams did pretty well. Game 1 of the Wild Card Series. Visiting team here up by a touchdown, but backed up at the 2-yard line. So Spartans don't get points in that drive, but they try to make things more challenging for Stroud. Student section's down there trying to make some noise. Henderson spins and gets about 5 or 6.
This Michigan State defense, Scotty Hazelton, the defensive coordinator, Mel Tucker. Mel said he's been more involved because of the youth on this defense. Cannot afford the mental errors. We saw one in the last drive where the Buckeyes scored quickly with a touchdown pass, with a blown coverage. Have Ohio State pinned. Everybody needs to be on the same page for the Michigan State defense to have a chance.
Henderson makes a cut. Just has the feeling that he's overdue to hit one of those home runs. Has been frustrated by injuries, and there's a man down. That is Jaden Mangum, the true freshman safety for the Spartans. And last thing they need is another guy to suffer an injury.
There was a collision there with Henderson and Langham. I mean, he sets this block up perfectly to the outside, then back underneath Egbuka, and then to the right, you'll see number 1. Boom, that collision right there. There's a young defensive back, and he's been coming up a lot today. Turns his head right at the point of contact. And that is you look at Henderson, he's so sudden, so quick, but a year in the weight room, he runs hard and powerfully.
About 40 pounds more Henderson than the guy who hit him. Mangum landing awkwardly, and the athletic trainers and doctors surrounding him. There's Mel Tucker off to the left. Freshman who came in early, making his second start of his career. The air just comes out of the team in the stadium when they see this. And cart is being brought onto the field. Did not appear to be immobilized in the field, which is obviously an encouraging sign. Holly is stationed near the Michigan State sideline. Now, Holly, what can you see from your vantage point?
Well, guys, what I can see from my vantage point is that he is moving his legs. He's moving his lower body as they try to get him onto this backer board. They're being very careful, though, with how they transport him. Where we were standing when he went down, it appeared he might have lost consciousness. Looked like a pretty severe blow, but they are taking great precautions right now to make sure that they get him on that backer board without moving him too much. But I can tell you he did have movement in his lower extremities as he was laying there on the field.
Got our ESPN injury analyst, Marty Jaramillo, is part of our team this year. Marty is looking in from his home watching this game. Marty, obviously the entire medical staff surrounding Mangum. What, if anything, could you tell from your experienced position?
Yeah, Chris and Kirk, I saw a helmet-to-helmet collision. And then I agree with Holly that he probably was unconscious briefly, but they are protecting his head with all movements because they want to move the body as one unit. And Rod Scott, who's the head football trainer for Michigan State, he has 15 years of experience in the NFL. So him and his staff are doing a great job stabilizing him, making sure he's safe, and put on the spine board to make sure his body is moved as one unit.
I've seen, unfortunately, far too much of this kind of thing, but caution is, of course, the proper approach to take. Well, they continue to take care of Mangum. We'll check in with Kevin Nagandi in the studio.
Chris, Kirk, thank you so much. Dan Mullen, Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi, as we will watch and monitor what's going on in East Lansing. As a coach, what's your message to the team during this quiet time? Is you don't know what just happened.
Well, exactly that. We don't know what's going to happen. I think the positive thing is when you start to see movement in the extremities is, hey, we got to come together. We're going to keep it in our prayers, and then we got to get back focused, because we got to go on and continue playing the game.
Well, also, and I think you have to realize your players are human. So they're going to have a certain level of emotion about their teammate. They're going to feel for them. So I always found it like the coaches that tried to, hey, guys, come over to the sideline. No, let the players go make sure their teammate is okay.
Yeah.
He's a friend. He's a brother. Because before I go play, I want to at least know he's okay, or at least know as much as I can.
You want to have a set of peace of mind
Something,
there
yes.
to move forward.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they see some positivity when they see the movement, when they see that. That looks at the guys, and it kind of, if not, maybe relaxes them a little bit. That their teammates.
And it's great to have Marty's perspective there as Chris and Kirk were talking to him to kind of give us an idea, because we don't want to make any assumptions, but what's the formality and the understanding there as you get to the cart. We will keep you up to date, and hopefully we'll have an update as the game continues. We do have an update on a game that's going out in the West. Big test for undefeated UCLA is Utah in town. The physicality. Where are the fighting Chip Kellys? Well, here's Dorian Thompson-Robinson to Jake Bobo.
Yeah, and DTR has been so veteran now, making plays, and this is an opportunity for UCLA to make a statement in this game.
Tavion Thomas here, Boog, and the Utes, come on, you're going to be here for a fight all day.
Anytime you play a Kyle Whittingham team, you better buckle up, because they're going to hit you in the mouth.
Good measuring stick here for UCLA and where this program is under Chip, and DTR coming off a fantastic performance last week. Right now, 14-10 highlights coming your way at the half. Chris, back to you.
All right, Kevin, thank you. Mangum being taken on that board to the locker room. TreVeyon Henderson, of course, who handled the football, was hit by Mangum. A nice gesture, comes over to make his way and show his support. Football brother to football brother there. And the Ohio State fans joining the Spartans fans with a show of support for Mangum. We'll provide any information if it becomes available. So 1st and 10 for Ohio State. And so Egbuka in motion. Henderson's got the football again and bursts up the middle and runs through some more tackles. Another first down as the Buckeye ground game with Henderson carrying the load with Mayan Williams out. Starts to turn it up now.
And now Justin White comes in there to try to make a tackle. And I mean, he has a feel what TreVeyon Henderson can do and how physical of a runner he is. It makes those defensive backs make sure they get low and they tackle Henderson. Everyone thinks Mayan Williams runs hard. This guy runs hard too.
Stroud on the run, flips it short to Julian Fleming, and he is shoved out along the far sideline after a gain by Kendall Brooks. Yeah, he's 215 pounds, but he's very solid in the speed that Henderson generates. He does deliver a shot to defenders.
He does not look to avoid contact. I mean, for a quick back, he's dialing it up with that third level of the defense.
Got it again. Stutter step, makes a cut, and shows you the agility to go with that size and speed and be just short of the marker. Third down coming up.
Honestly, it's probably the first time we've seen him look like himself since Notre Dame. I got the Arkansas State game. He hurts his foot. He's been working hard in rehab to come back. Came back a few weeks ago. We've seen Mayan Williams, to his credit, really emerge. But this, with Mayan Williams out, TreVeyon Henderson healthy, he's running hard today.
Williams told Henderson a week ago, I got you, when Henderson was a scratch and warm up against Rutgers, goes out, ties the school record with 5 rushing touchdowns. Now Henderson's got Williams today.
What a tandem. When you look around the country, I mean, if it's not the best tandem of backs in college football, it's definitely right there.
Let's go back to Marty Jaramillo, who has been studying up the situation involving Henderson's foot, how he injured it, Marty, and then how they have to be careful about treating it to get him back on the field, which was happened today.
He actually got injured, got his left foot caught under the tackle against Toledo as he was scoring, cutting right. You see this in the video here. And he actually had a brace on for a couple of weeks, came back against Wisconsin, and actually re-injured it during the warm-ups for Rutgers. These foot injuries are very difficult to stabilize. You can brace an ankle, you can tape an ankle. Very difficult to do that with a foot because of all the torque and the rotation and the demands of it with the cutting speed of someone like Henderson.
And boy, does he have torque, Marty. Part of his game is...
They hand it to him on third down, and the Spartans are ready, and they stop him short. Nothing there for Henderson that time. Derek Harmon plugged the middle along with Jacoby Windmund, and it's 4th down.
Holidays, well, timed up his blitz perfectly, went right through Donovan Jackson.
For now, the offense is on the field. So the first quarter has ended, so we'll see if Ryan Day is going to take a risk from his own end, leading by 7 points on the road here in East Lansing. A couple touchdown passes for Stroud, but a pick 6 for the Spartans. Back after this, BC presented by Arby's. Ohio State's offense on the field, going for it, apparently, from their own 42-yard line, needing a yard. A fired-up Ryan Day talking his offensive line to gamble if they run a play.
I mean, that line got pushed into the backfield at last play.
Henderson, first down and more as he muscles out to the 49. Mere speed got him to the ground eventually.
Nice block, or Rossi. They see all of this attention, so he checks. He says, let's get to the outside. Rossi 34, nice kick out block, get right behind the left tackle, Paris Johnson, and a big crease there to pick up the first down.
Big old Mitch Rossi catches the occasional pass, but that's why he's in there, to move people out of the way. Off the play action, Stroud wants a downfield shot, and he's got Fleming running free, and Julian Fleming battles to the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State. The third long downfield strike for Stroud. 51 yards.
Well, this is what happens when you have injuries to the back end. Justin White right there, you see the safety. He needs to be helping out the defensive back Brantley. So you can look at zero and say, what the heck was he thinking? But White, who's a corner trying to play safety, needed to come over to help him out. Got his eyes in the backfield. See the progressive pylon cam. Looks like he breaks the play and goes into the end zone.
So C.J. Stroud, once again, frighteningly efficient against the Spartans in a first half. All 3 starting wide receivers now have a touchdown. Stroud already 168 passing yards, and we're 30 seconds into the second quarter. Deja vu from last year's first-round knockout in Columbus.
Yep. You put a corner at safety because of some of the injuries, and I want you to watch his eyes and watch how he gets impacted. He's looking, he's still making a check at the snap of the ball. He's got to get into the middle of the field. He's got to get back to help out his corner, Brantley. Instead, Fleming is left one-on-one with nobody with inside leverage. Another touchdown for Ohio State.
Now they get to the end zone here. They'd find a way to get to East Lansing and get in the end zone. And maybe seven or 8 plays.
Well, they can run and throw. It just makes it so hard for any defense to defend, especially secondary, young as they are.
Henry's going to bring it out and darts out to the 25-yard line as we check in with Holly for an update on the situation involving Jaden Mangum.
Well, guys, I can tell you I've been standing here in the tunnel watching all of this unfold. They took him by cart to an ambulance. They were very, very careful how they moved him to the stretcher to put him into the ambulance. He has been immobilized. I did see his mother come down to be with him, and he is now being transported via ambulance to the Sparrow Hospital in Lansing. I am told from some sources here on the sideline this appears to be a head or neck injury. I can tell you they did not remove his helmet, and they were very careful with how they put him onto the stretcher to transport him to the hospital.
Terrific work. Thank you, Holly. We'll continue to pass along updates if they become available. It's Jalen Berger, a tailback, makes a cut and darts for about 6 on first down.
Great blocks on the backside gave him his chance to be able to cut that back and get some positive yards.
Berger was a Wisconsin Badger the last couple of years. Lost his job, and when you have success like Kenneth Walker did a year ago out of the portal. As Thorne's going to keep it, try to get to the edge. Denzel Burke wouldn't let that happen. Makes the tackle on the quarterback after a short gain. It'll be third down.
Well, he did everything he can. I mean, you watch how fast Ohio State collapses here with Jack Sawyer-Thorne, who, as you said earlier, Chris, he's not really known as a runner, but because they take away the running back, it forces him to try to keep it. But, man, this Ohio State defense can run. Denzel Burke, of course, a corner willing to come up and run support. Makes a nice play.
Burke, a guy who's struggled since returning. He's playing, through an injury, an injured finger. But a nice tackle there, and now trying to throw for it on third down. A flag comes in. The catch is made by Jaden Reed. He was covered by Cam Brown.
You wonder if that's a push-off by Reed at the top of the route. Remember, Reed hurt Cam Brown early. Are they going to look at Brown, or are they going to look at Reed? Both of them kind of pushing each other. Watch at the end. Oh, yeah, he's got a hold of his arm. Good call by the officials. But I tell you, they got it. Anytime they get Jaden Reed isolated, they've been going after Cam Brown one-on-one. That is a third down 50-50 ball. It shows you the confidence they have in Thorne. Throw the accurate throw away from that defender, and the Reed can adjust and have great ball skills.
Second downfield catch by Reed, connecting with his high school teammate. Now on the end around, he's able to dart and get the corner. And there's a collision over there with Ronnie Hickman. Jaden Reed is a guy that you really pull for. He comes from tough streets of Chicago. Said he heard gunshots every single day of his life. And he lost his dad to kidney failure in high school. Became so close with not just Peyton Thorne, his teammates in 6th grade, but the entire Thorne family really took him in. And he dedicates every single time he takes the field to the memory of his dad.
Yeah. They've been through so much and plays with a lot of passion. You can see when he gets his hands on the ball, of all the Michigan State players, he's the difference maker for this offense. They've got to find ways to continue to get him the ball. When he's isolated one-on-one, they'll give him those chances.
He's out for a breather now. They hand the ball off inside and darting forward. Ball came out, but he hit the ground there as Broussard. It is first down yardage at the 35. There's a flag out as well. It's behind the play.
Holding. Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
It's Jared Horst for the second time today.
But Eichenberg, just because of the effort to try to get to the ball, I mean, he forces this hole. He doesn't make the tackle, but Horst, who's had a tough day today, he's responding to the urgency that 35 is playing with. You see the left tackle, 79. Watch how Eichenberg tries to fight through that. He doesn't get to it, but because he's working as hard as he works, again, Horst is just overmatched and has to grab a hold of him and into the holding call.
Swung out in the flat. This is Jeremy Bernard, and he's going to be wrestled out by Cameron Brown, and that's going to be a flag on the Buckeyes on the tackle there.
Watch Cam Brown trying to support the edge there of this defense for Ohio State. Is in great position. He just gets the back of the jersey.
Personal foul. Horse collar tackle. Defense number 26. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Ohio State defense swarms. Great position, but right at the end, the left hand grabbing the back of the jersey and brings him down. Chris, you said it. He's not played a lot of football because of some injuries, kind of working himself back to game speed, out of bounds, but especially the horse collar tackle. There's the frustration by Cam Brown.
Totally unnecessary to grab him. I mean, obviously, Bernard's going to the ground anyway.
They take him out of the game and bring J.K. Johnson in. Ryan Day, the Ohio State coach, is coming over to talk to him about keeping his cool.
So the Spartans now threatening, trying to cut into this 2-touchdown lead. Zip to Mosley. Can he make a man miss? No. Dives forward with Lansing on as McAllister to bring him down after a short gain.
Clearly, Jay Johnson has instructed Peyton Thorne that when we go to these 3 receiver looks, and if they crowd the line of scrimmage and we've got a soft corner, take it. Take the throw. Again, Cam Brown just trying to get over there to cool off and gather himself before he maybe gets inserted back into the lineup. But
it's weird to see Michigan State without any running game. It's been non-existent most of the season. They've got 11 net yards today.
Especially after the year they had last year with Kenneth Walker.
And it's dropped across the middle, trying to get it into Tyler Hunt, the normally reliable tight end. And it's going to be 3rd and long.
Ohio State 3 defenders coming in on right inside of that defense.
Drops have been a problem for this receiving corps.
Yeah.
5 or 6 last week.
I wonder if
no
he
loss
heard
to Maryland.
footsteps there. Those 3 defenders coming in. If he catches that ball there at 3rd and 2.
And this is the situation they were in before. It was a 3rd and 6 when Eichenberg stormed through.
There's Eichenberg.
Got a sack, forced a punt.
There's Eichenberg in control of Jim Knowles' defense. Sits back at it.
So they don't bring pressure, but they get home with 4. 4 is slammed down by Michael Hall Jr. There's a flag out. Looks to be a hold that they'll wave off, and another 3rd down sack for this group.
Well, they showed the pressure. Michigan State adjusted, expecting it, and then Ohio State sits back in zone. It's nice when you can bring Zach Harrison in the inside, Sawyer to the outside, Hall on the inside.
Wow, so a hands to the face nullifies the sack.
I said 95. I think he maybe meant 9. Zach Harrison, I just talked about how nice it is to put him to the inside because they have so many pass rushers. See that hand? Yeah, left hand right into the face mask, and that's what the umpire called.
Yeah, there's no 95, but that was clearly, he got his money's worth, Harrison, so that's a big play.
Yeah.
Moves the football inside the 20. Would have been 4th and long.
Jaden Reed is the go-to man that they try to find. Undersized in the red zone, but they like to try to create crossers and matchups that he can win.
Thorne looking that direction. Back shoulder fade. Caught, touchdown. Jaden Reed, an enormous job on that drive. And the Spartans are hanging around. 18 yards straight. Good call, Coach Herbstreit. Yeah. That's the matchup he looked for.
That's the matchup. That's the guy. And he's just waiting to see how, if they put a safety over top. They don't. They keep him one-on-one against J.K. Johnson. The back shoulder. What an adjustment. I mean, what a big-time play by Jaden Reed. Reaching. He's a little guy, but shows an ability to extend and make that play and then end up in the end zone.
There's something about a quarterback-receiver combination. You've done that since you're like in 6th grade, right? You just know what the other's going to do.
Yeah, great feel.
And a missed PAT. Kicking game has been a problem for Michigan State. That's Jack Stone, the true freshman.
See the inside receiver takes the defensive back. There's the one-on-one, back shoulder. There's the field Chris is talking about since high school. Michigan State with a big answer to Ohio State's big play offense.
Restructured pork patty.
It's pretty quickly in baseball postseason, right? You work your way to the wild card games.
See ya.
Tampa's home. So the missed extra point by the true freshman Jack Stone. He just missed it wide right. The snap was fine. The hold was good. He just sliced it.
What's your feeling on some of these 94s, 83s, 98s on these kickers? I see a kicker come out in a 94. I get nervous.
You just doubt his ability?
It makes me nervous. I don't trust him. So let's look at Michigan State. If you just tuned in, they're actually battling, but they've had some miscues. Giving Ryan Day and C.J. Stroud a chance. Here's a late communication, not quite on the same page. Young secondary trying to disguise coverage, and it's backfired a couple times. Here's another mistake here by a defensive back, Justin White, trying to get a check, make sure we're all on the same page. Ball's already snapped. His eyes are in the backfield. He sees jet motion, forgets to cover the middle third. Easy touchdown again for C.J. Stroud and the Buckeyes' big play offense. So I know we keep talking about it. It's tough to do out there against these athletes, but Ohio State is willing to attack downfield if Michigan State does not clean up their defense and communication.
Stroud this time underneath the Fleming. Every single meeting we have, 3rd time seeing Ohio State, limit explosives. Limit the explosives. That's what every opposing defensive coordinator tries to do to stop Ryan Day's offense. But check this out. Look at the gap in this conference between the explosive plays since 2020. So the last 2+ seasons, Ohio State far and away the best in this league.
Starting to lap folks.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, they will have lapped a bunch.
You get first-round receivers, and you get by far the best quarterback play in this conference overall the last decade. It's not even close.
They went to a bunch trips to the left. Now they're going to bring Stover, the tight end, back down.
And they're going to pitch it to Henderson with Stover blocking on that side, but hit for a short gain. Kendall Brooks, the safety, came up and knocked him down.
It's always a numbers game for Ryan Day. He's going to give you a lot of these different formations. He's going to see if you're concerned more about the passing game or the run game. If you show that you're worried too much about the passing game because of Stroud, you're going to get the run game. And if you think, oh my gosh, we can't allow TreVeyon Henderson to hurt us by continuing to run for 5 and 7 and 10 yards, we got to commit more numbers down. Now you're in trouble on the outside of the perimeter. So Ryan Day is just waiting to see how you respond to these different formations where he spreads you out.
Fleming completely uncovered in the slot. To the left there, no one within 10 yards of him. Looks back this direction. It's a low throw. Harrison couldn't come up with it. Ball tipped at the line there. Avery Dunn got a hand on it.
Ryan Day is going crazy. And you talk about an animated defensive coordinators. Ryan Day is an animated head coach / play caller.
By the way, TreVeyon Henderson was seen limping to the sidelines. We talked about the foot that's plagued him. He's had almost 100 yards this afternoon, but now an empty backfield look on 3rd and 8. Spartans are showing pressure. They bring some. Stroud off his back foot for Harrison. Just drops it in a bucket. What a pitch and catch by the quarterback and the tall receiver.
How about the composure here by Stroud and, of course, Marvin Harrison, the location of that ball. That's 3rd down and long. And he drops that, Chris, into that bucket. And Harrison with the feet down. I'm going to tell you, if you go way back to where Stroud was again, he's pressured on 3rd down where they bring pressure. And, again, isn't able to even get all the way into his throwing motion, has to kind of short arm it and still makes that throw.
This time he sets the feet and delivers a strike down the middle. That's Fleming inside the red zone. You talk about lapping the field and explosive plays. They're just adding to it here.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you come back, you make this play, go back to that 3rd down, watch Stroud. I keep marveling at this because it's a tough throw. He kind of does that Pat Mahomes sidearm sling, and he throws it 35 yards downfield. I mean, if you had one of those targets where you're trying to make that throw, 5 of 5 downfield, 15 yards or longer.
They have not limited the explosive plays. Unsuccessful, as most defenses are against the Buckeyes. Henderson's back in the game. And on this 1st down play, he's going to shoot forward so quick. Picks up 7.
Just when you think you've got a little bit of momentum, Michigan State scores a touchdown, crowd gets back into it, you pull within 8 because of the missed extra point. You're thinking now you're going to put the pressure on Ryan Day and Stroud. Now we're going to really come after him. Hazelton, the defensive coordinator, says, okay, let's dial it up here. Now we got him to 3rd down. And blink of an eye, they hit a few big plays. They're inside the 15-yard line, mixing run with pass.
Up to play action, Stroud looking for the end zone. Long throw incomplete. Egbuka was very well covered and no chance to make a play.
Back to 3rd down. We got we got a penalty here in the backfield.
Stroud signaling that it's on Michigan State.
Okay.
Personal foul, hands in the face, defense number 26. Half the distance to the goal, automatic 1st down.
So hands to the face on Brandon Wright, the senior pass rusher, one of the Ohioans on this Michigan State roster, and that gives the Buckeyes a 1st and goal. Spot the ball at about the 6-yard line. Ohio State continues to be perfect this season, not just scoring all 26, but 24 of them reaching the end zone. Noah Ruggles doesn't get a chance to try many field goals for this team. A lot of extra points. Henderson, they fake it to him, flip it to Stover in the flat, and he's knocked down. Good open field tackle by Speed there. 2nd and goal.
Quickly reads the edge man, that safety, kind of nickelback 15. He comes down to help out in the run, so he knew he had the numbers quick throw, quick decision there. Boy, without that penalty, Ohio State's at 3rd and 4. Now you get the penalty, you get the automatic first down, and as if this offense needs some help.
Big fella here, Rossi lined up at fullback in front of Henderson, who takes the handoff and hesitates and then just sprints to the end zone. And Ohio State, another long march, stretches the lead again. 75 yards. That's got to feel good for Henderson. He's had a quiet year.
And we've talked how he's healthy. Watch a little hesitation move. Am I going to go underneath the block, or am I going to bounce it to go outside of Rossi? He has that option to go underneath, and then once he sees his leverage is pushing Halliday to the inside, it's pretty easy with his speed to get to the corner for a touchdown.
You kind of let Ben Van Sumeren know that you're not going to catch me. Ohio State, 2 75-yard touchdown drives, an 80-yard march, and a 98-yard march. The lead is 15.
And Michigan State's win. Oh, Cedric Irvin.
Well, there was what, the 98 game.
That was Cedric Irvin was part of that down in Columbus.
Yeah, that was the year before he's talking about.
Yeah, I know, but was Irvin Cedric back that next year in '99? Was Charles Rogers on those teams? Or was that too early?
Telra Henry. And he's going to be knocked down across the 25.
P.J. Duckett. Let's go to the chin. Speaking of Spartans from right now, Jaden Reed having a pretty good day. This is early. First throw that Michigan State had. Perfectly thrown ball by Peyton Thorne. Starting to see a little bit of a theme here about Michigan State. And what they want to do is get Reed isolated. He can win one-on-one. This is the red zone. Little guy, but can win. That time at J.K. Johnson, who was in for Cam Brown, who kind of lost his cool when they sat him down. And he's still on the sideline. Reed now with 4 catches, 67 yards, and a score. If they're going to stay in this game, they got to keep getting him the ball.
Thorne on the run. Tries to get it instead of Tyler Hunt. The tight end pressure there by Zach Harris. We talked about their connection. Their chemistry that goes back to 6th or 7th grade. They played at Naperville High School in suburban Chicago. Peyton says he calls Jaden Reed Bird. It was his nickname as a kid. Still calls him that to this day. Reed's been busy. Mosley's been featured. Keon Coleman, the 2-sport athlete here at Michigan State, number 0, has not been targeted yet. They zip it far side right on cue. They do get it to be Keon Coleman. Play the little hoops for Izzo. 6'4" frame, put to good use on the football field too.
Saw Iz before the game. I mean, I know obviously you could argue he's one of the greatest college basketball coaches ever. Passionate college football fan.
Good. Charlie Ward, who scored a bucket and a touchdown for a top 10 football and basketball teams. That's the last guy to do it before Keon Coleman. Wow. Need 4 on 3rd down. Pump fake, and now a slant, and it's dropped in traffic. Tried to get the ball to Monique Carr, the transfer from Purdue, and they're saying he caught it and fumbled it, so it's a turnover. Didn't think he held it long enough, but they're going to call it a turnover. Ronnie Hickman.
Well, looked like Eichenberg, the middle linebacker. Watch him right here. I never thought he had possession of the ball. I mean, it looked like he was bobbling it the entire time until it came out. But what do you see there? Look at the ball. Maybe see
there's no way.
I have an incomplete pass.
Oh, there's no way that's a catch.
He lost the ball immediately, went to the ground, incomplete pass.
And that's the way it looked to the eye. That's a incomplete pass is a win for the Spartans, who will be able to punt it away now instead of having the Buckeyes take over inside the 35.
Tommy Eichenberg in this scheme, it's, you grow as a player from one year to the next, but the knowledge of this scheme and how comfortable he has become. Jim Knowles tells you he's the extension of me to this defense. He's my alpha. He understands how to get guys lined up, situational awareness, down and distance. It's fun to watch him play and how fast he's playing in this new defense.
He and Steele Chambers are roommates for the last 3 years. At that point, Chambers was a running back. He credits Eichenberg with helping him with a linebacker mentality, and plus the mechanics of playing the position. Egbuka is going to field it inside the 10, and that's great coverage. It's another effective punt. Cade McDonald on the tackle, and Bryce Behringer showed you why he is America's top punter. 58 yards on that boot.
Final, what happened to Brett Venables in Oklahoma? Back to you guys.
Thanks, fellas. Henderson running laughter. Yeah, incredibly impressive performance by Tennessee. On the road, they'll meet Alabama as a battle of unbeatens. All Ohio's possessions have resulted in touchdowns. There was the pick 6 in the second possession, but look, since then, 3 more long touchdown marches.
2 75s, an 80, and a 98. They put so much pressure on his defense. Mel Tucker trying to come up with answers, trying to keep his guys believing that they can stop Stroud in this offense. Tough to do.
Henderson, it's a spin move, but it's knocked down. But since the beginning of last year, Spartans are dead last in that time span in pass defense. They're not getting a pass rush. 5 starters out on that side of the ball for Mel Tucker, as we've talked about, so the struggle continues. 3rd and short for the Buckeyes as Henderson trots off. So no tailbacks in the game. Empty backfield. 5 receiver look. And now Xavier Johnson, a receiver, motions back in. Stroud on the slant. Easy pitch and catch. There was a cushion there for Marvin Harrison Jr. and a first down.
Yeah, he had a double slant to the backside, man to man. So he just decides, does he want to go to Egbuka inside or wait and eventually find Harrison? Ball's behind. Good job of adjusting back, keeping his cool by Marvin Harrison. Again, there's that length in the catch radius. And he's going to win one-on-one more often than not.
Touchdowns for Harrison, Fleming, and Egbuka so far in this first half. They pitch it to Xavier Johnson, normally a receiver, and the role of running back. Nice game there.
How about that? You got Mayan Williams, who can't play today, so you're wondering who will be that backup running back. I thought Dallas Hayden, who we might see, the true freshman out of Memphis, went to Christian Brothers, but Xavier Johnson's played a little bit of everything, involved in special teams, beloved by his teammates, and you can see just how quickly. Probably his hand went up when he said, "Well, Mayan Williams is down. We run the ball. We want to get him the ball. Who wants to be that guy? Xavier Johnson will do it. Guy's done everything in his career."
Grad student. Henderson's back in the game. He's got the football. Henderson looking for somebody to stiff arm. They didn't get near him, and he'll just scoot out of bounds near midfield, forced out by Brooks.
What makes this offense so tough? I don't care who they're playing. What makes them, no matter if they're playing Michigan State, Penn State, later in the year, Michigan, it's the scheme of Ryan Day combined with the recruiting and the development of this recruiting or this coaching staff. And they can big play you on the ground and through the air. I mean, again, you're so stretched horizontally, you get stretched vertically, they pound you between the tackles, and you got a quarterback that can drop it on a dime on any down. Do you play zone? Do you play man? How do you get him out of sync?
In the end around, Egbuka knocked down hard. Flying in there was Brantley, who's had an eventful game, had a pick 6, beaten a couple times as well. It's a good question. One the defensive coordinators are going to be pondering in coming weeks in this conference and perhaps in the playoff.
Yeah, and my answer to it, like any great offense, is you have to win the line of scrimmage against them. You have to be dominant against their offensive line where you don't have to necessarily commit numbers down to stop their running game. You can beat them up at the line of scrimmage. We saw that in the Michigan game last year in Ann Arbor. That's what they had with Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo. Not many teams have that ability to win at the line of scrimmage against this Ryan Day offense, and that's why you're kind of in react mode. You're in a defensive mode against all this speed, and that's a tough place to be and try to win.
Brian Hartline, the receiver coach, animated Henderson there, or Harrison. He saw something there. They wanted to get the young receiver's attention. Back to Bear for the athletic trivia question answer. You guys Charles Rogers?
Yeah, TJ Duckett maybe.
Those are both good guesses, and certainly in that era. But the answer to today's Aflac Trivia question was, which two Michigan State players scored touchdowns in Michigan State's last home win against Ohio State? Plaxico Burress, Chris Baker.
Should have known. Holly got it. Holly?
Very good. There we go.
Out of the way, Holly.
Way to help
now
the team
I feel
out.
Exactly right.
I mean, you're allowed to text somebody up here. Let us know. I mean, it's supposed to be a team. Of course Holly knows that.
Probably worked the game.
Probably did.
After the timeout, 2nd and 7. 2.5 to work with and 2 timeouts. And it's Johnson joining Mitch Rossi in the backfield. And Stroud zips it. Buckeyes it go open again. Little crease, little shimmy move, and a first down at the 33.
Great patience by C.J. Stroud. Lets that play develop. Had Rossi out in the flat. Took the corner out with him. Gave him a huge throwing lane in time and in sync with Egbuka. Watch the safeties when they try to defend Ohio State. What they have to decide as a coaching staff is, do we want to get these two involved in stopping this guy right here? If you start to work them down, they're going to hit you one-on-one. Right now they're staying back, and it's a good time to run the football.
And they do pitch it to Henderson, who weaves his way through traffic. What would you do if you're on the other side trying to...
Well, what they did a couple times early, and it's tough to do with young defensive backs, it's look, give C.J. Stroud and the receivers one look with 2 safeties back, and then as the ball snapped, one safety comes down and another one goes back, show zone, play man. It's just so dangerous to play this offense in man-to-man. Everybody I talked to this week, I said, you think Michigan State's going to play man-to-man? Dare they play man-to-man against these receivers? And you're trying to mix it in. Like right here, they're mixing it in.
Stroud zips it across the middle. Harrison's running free. He scores again.
There it is.
Do you dare play man? Well, you get burned.
That's what happens. You play a man-to-man. They showed it late. They brought a blitz from the field, tried to sneak it, tried to hide it with 15 gross. And when you do it, and you have to try something, right? You can't just let him sit back there. It goes back to the point that you can't whip them at the line of scrimmage. You've got to cheat. You've got to try to get an extra number. And this time it was Angelo Gross.
So Stroud 4 touchdown passes in the first half, a modest total compared to last year. But the 5th long touchdown drive for Ohio State.
Now watch how they cheat down and get Gross. Right now it looks like the same defense, right? They're going to play too high. Well, at the snap of the ball, he comes here. Now you got man-to-man, and now C.J. Stroud said, thank you very much. Got away with a holding call by 74 Donovan Jackson. One-on-one against these receivers, you're not going to hold up, especially when Stroud has time to throw. They get separation. He's going to throw in rhythm. And you're going to see a lot of those if you dare press him and play man-to-man.
It's been tough. We talked about Brandley. He's the one that took advantage of the miscommunication, took that pick back to the house early, but he's been beaten a number of times. Harrison got him that time. And Ohio State stretches the lead to 3 touchdowns plus a point here. 429 yards in the first half. Kirk averaging near 11 yards per play. Big nightmare matchup. You got this passing offense with yet another veteran quarterback who's seen everything, and the Spartans have faced a string of them in recent weeks against a pass defense that just continues to be woeful. Henry will give it a go from the 5 and will weave his way for a nice looking return out across the 35. Spartans got a couple timeouts at 1:14 before the break.
Dirk Mobley, our director, had a nice shot there of Luke Whippler, the center from Ohio State. It's worth talking about the entire offensive line from Ohio State. I really believe, you go back over the last 5 to 10 years, the difference right now in this team, Stroud is incredible, all these great receivers. Jackson Smith and Jig was not even here. I mean, think about when he gets inserted. He's maybe the best receiver in the country. The offensive line feels different. It's a very united front. They're playing as a group. They have a new line coach, and Justin Fry is doing a great job. They're again performing well today for Stroud.
And they're getting after the quarterback on defense too. They're winning on the line of scrimmage on both sides. That's Michael Hall Jr. had a sack earlier, nullified by a penalty. invading the backfield again.
That's really a coverage sack. I mean, you get a push, but look at the coverage downfield. It's the beauty of rushing 4 and dropping 7 into coverage. You see the left flat, but there's no chance of getting that ball out because of that pocket collapsing on him.
Flag before the snap. False start. So 2 sacks officially for Ohio State. They've also pressured the quarterback a number of times. It's a different kind of pass rush than you see when you have the Bosa's or Chase Young. Knowles says he's used to this kind of thing, though. The pass rush by committee, a number of different guys who can hurt you. Hall getting back makes a difference because without him, they really haven't had an interior pass rush.
And they've really been pushing Zach Harrison more on 3rd down to the inside, and you have some depth that they're able to rotate into the outside with Sawyer and Tweet Moloau.
Offense number 0. 5-yard penalty. This play also includes a 10-second runoff. Please set the game clock to 34 seconds. It will start on my ready for play signal. Jim
Knowles brought over from Oklahoma State before this season. You can see the improvement. Again, it's not a complete season. There are better offenses to be faced, but he calls it improvement, but not dominant. He wants dominant. Can they get to dominant?
Yeah, and they're taking huge strides in that direction. Keep in mind, he was in Stillwater with the Oklahoma State defense where they overachieved with their program defensively. He's not used to living in this jurisdiction, and he'll be the first one to tell you.
The 5 stars?
Yeah, the 5 stars. I've played against those kind of guys, but I've never been on the same team with them. And I think you combine his scheme, which they are getting more and more comfortable with the athletic ability and size and what they're capable of doing. It's going to be fun to see where they are in November and into December when they get really cranking on that side of the ball.
Where they are at halftime on this October afternoon is up 35-13 at the break. Mosley with 285 and 4. The State Farm halftime report is coming up right after these messages. The first round Mike Tyson, Marvis Frazier knockout we saw last year in Columbus. Spartans made it through the first quarter, but then a sack. They punt Ohio State deep and a 98-yard touchdown drive by Stroud. That really kind of cemented momentum from that point on.
It really did. I mean, when you play this kind of offense, the margin of error for your own offense is just so small, and you have a few opportunities. You got to take advantage of them. And C.J. Stroud, it's just, I mean, you must love seeing that Michigan State helmet. Last year had a huge game and off to a big start here in the first half.
Brandon Muff, the kickoff, picks it up. A flag is down, and he's running free. Gets the corner. The kicker tries to knock him on a bat, and the coverage gets him near midfield, but a flag way back at the 5-yard line.
Lock in the back against Ohio State. That'll come back.
Everything was out of kilter there. He's not one of the regular return guys.
Return. Illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 1. Half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. First down, Ohio State.
Brandon muffed it and then tried to make something of it. Check out the right side here.
To the right. See one right there. Williams. Right there's the push in the back.
Very clear and no hesitation from the official.
But Williams usually wears number 2. He's wearing number 1 now. Never know with these double numbers and guys changing jerseys.
So here's the opportunity for a 96-yard touchdown drive as Ohio State takes over.
Think about what Stroud's done. Last year had a huge game, and you add all this up in 6 quarters against Michigan State. I think he's missed 6 passes.
Yep.
47 of 53.
Henderson is knocked down. Flying in is Charles Brantley. And the DB over there has had a pick 6 and been burned a few times. Makes a satisfying hit on the running back.
And we'll keep an eye on TreVeyon Henderson, who gets up a little bit slow. 6 quarters going back to last year's game where Ohio State, Chris, you brought it up. They ignited him. There's Henderson walking off. 47-53, 7, 17, 10, and 1 in 6 quarters of play. TreVeyon Henderson's now down on the ground. Remember, he has not been healthy and has run hard today.
Didn't appear to be the foot issue. Looks like he took a shot on the leg, or is it?
I don't know. He's clearly limping. I think he's fought and worked so hard to get back. He's tried to be patient.
Brantley comes in and puts that shoulder right on the thigh.
You just never know but he was in pain instantly. And again, they don't have a lot of depth. Mayan Williams is not playing today. He'll be back for the Iowa game. And there's the true freshman, Dallas Hayden, out of Memphis, went to Christian Brothers High School. Very gifted running back.
He'll get his opportunity, but he has to sidestep traffic in the backfield and then bulldozes ahead for about 5 before Van Sumeren got him to the ground.
How about that? Yeah, welcome to the game. I mean, he comes right into the game and right away has to make a pretty quick decision.
He filled in and had a 100-yard game against Toledo in a blowout. You're right. Like most Buckeyes skill guys, he arrives with plenty of credentials and height.
I watched him play in high school. When he actually, my son Zach, played against him. His team played against him. He's a gifted runner.
Stroud looking to throw for it on 3rd down. Delivers a dime to Egbuka, who's running free, and he's finally knocked out across the 30.
Well, you better hold on to these guys. They're physical. Not only can they go downfield and run by you, but you've got such strength in Egbuka, 205-pound wide receiver against an undersized defensive back in Gross, who's at 180. And again, it's not just the speed. That's one thing. And down on the field, looking at these Ohio State receivers, and I've seen a lot of these guys for a long time, but just doing all these different games at different levels that I'm doing right now, you look at Brian Hartline right there, and this group of receivers, they are grown men. They're big and athletic.
All of them over 200 pounds and very strong. This is Xavier Johnson, out of the Swiss Army knife. You mentioned he has a lot of different things on special teams, carries on the end around there. Picks up 7.
Another way to use him as a running back, just use him as that jet speed as Brian Hartline.
And a hand-in-hand with Ryan Day, who calls the plays. Yeah, right near him. He gets the play call and then kind of decides who he wants in the game.
Yeah, this continues to be one of the top assistant coaches in the country. Great recruiter and developer of this unit. I mean, you go back and think about all the years Ohio State's had some great receivers. I'm going back to Chris Carter, I mean, and on through the list, Joey Galloway. But man, the group in these last 5 years has been at another level.
Hayden takes the toss and just bowls out for a 1st down at the 45. Yeah, you went kind of way back with Joey played in the white era.
Joseph Scott Galloway was, I went way back.
But look at this.
That's what I'm saying. The last 5-8 years, I mean, it's it started with Michael Thomas in that era, and you work your way through and just look at these guys and what they do. We'll be watching all these guys on Sunday. Olave and Wilson, it's not like they had to slowly learn what it takes to produce at that next level. It was kind of turnkey for those guys already starting to kind of emerge and become go-to players at their respective teams.
Stroud protected well in the pocket and delivers to Harrison. And you mentioned it, Jackson Smith and Jigba just spot duty, just 4 catches. They're hoping to get him back. It's that hamstring from the Notre Dame game. You put number 11 back in this offense. I mean, nightmarish.
Yeah, and while he's been down, you've seen Julian Fleming, who's finally healthy, number 4, get his chance to go along with Egbuka and Harrison Jr. Remember, we saw Egbuka and Harrison Jr. in the Rose Bowl, and you saw Olave and Garrett Wilson sit out. And that was a big day against Utah. Kind of give you an idea what was to come this year.
Stroud will be dragged down and sacked for the first time today by Derek Harmon. That was a coverage sack. Didn't see anybody open downfield.
But they play man-to-man underneath with 2 safeties back there trying to help out in case anybody's going downfield. Nowhere to go with the ball, and that's what allows the pass rush with Harmon eventually to be able to get to C.J. Stroud. Good coverage. Remember, we talked a lot in the first half about what do you do? Do you play zone with Scott Hazelton, the defensive coordinator, or do you mix zone and man? You take your chances when you play the man.
Section holds up this time. Dart across the middle to Egbuka. Those crossing routes have been really effective today. It's a 1st down again inside the 35.
Great route by Egbuka. Knowing that it's zone, he'll work around the linebacker off the left. Watch him. He knows he's going to get to that spot and the ball's going to be out. Linebackers split, gave him plenty of room. But I love how he widened that route to give him even more room and more room for the throw by C.J. Stroud. I really feel like Egbuka, who's a young receiver coming into this year, every week he and C.J. Stroud developing that chemistry and feel for one another.
That's Hayden again. Henderson will get a report from Holly momentarily. He headed into the athletic training tent. Flag down. And let's check on the flag first and then get the update on TreVeyon Henderson. And Ohio State fans will be eager to get that news and hope that it's nothing serious. There's Mike Cannon.
Personal foul, hands in the face. Defense number 41. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's the third hands to the face penalty of the afternoon. And Ohio State will march closer now. Remember, this drive began at the 4. Now they're in the red zone.
You have to see Paris Johnson's block there, 77. Boy, he put a guy on the block. There's the hands to the face by 41. I was watching 77. Paris Johnson, who was moved from guard out to tackle. My gosh.
You ever wish you played offensive line or defensive line in your career? You ever want to get down there in the pit?
I love watching the pit because it makes everything go.
And there's another throw. Harrison. He's got it. Brantley beaten again. Harrison just kind of reached back with those long arms and snagged it. Another touchdown pass for Stroud.
Watch C.J. Stroud's feet again affected by a rush. He just kind of did a little skip. Throws the ball behind Marvin Harrison, and he's able to adjust back.
See, catch radius.
There's the length and the catch radius that everybody wants to talk about. He's such a different receiver from his dad because of his size at 6'4", 205. But Brantley on an island. Dare you be out on your own against Marvin Harrison or Egbuka, or when you see Jackson Smith and Jigba, any of these receivers?
It's not the kind of island you want to visit.
No, it's not. Guys, C.J. Stroud, we're going to show you a package of Stroud and how he's had to maneuver around in that backfield, making throws. And all you got to do is put it up there and give a guy like Marvin Harrison a chance, and he'll adjust for you, come up with that touchdown. The shallow end right now.
It says at the top of the stadium there, into the deep water where we live. It was deep water from the get-go. I think they knew what to expect, and then the nightmare kind of lives out. And
there's top left. They're out of here.
Headed out for the festivities away from the stadium.
Yes, sir.
Holly, what do you have?
Well, guys, some very encouraging news about Michigan State safety Jaden Mangum. He was transported to a local hospital where Mel Tucker told me he has been through testing and that he is going to be okay. They will give you a better update after the game with more specific information, but that is very promising news for that young man. Also, TreVeyon Henderson, the running back for Ohio State, he was briefly seen, too, in the injury tent, but when they scored that touchdown, he peeked his head out with this huge smile on his face. He wanted to see my monitor to see the replay, so he is fine and can return to this game.
Wow, that's good to hear.
That's good news, and certainly great news on Mangum. We appreciate the professionalism, the cautious approach that the entire Michigan State medical staff took. That's why they do it, and that's a very as promising a report as you could get at this
point. It's great to hear.
Spartans now knew it was going to be an uphill fight. It's just strange to see Michigan State is one of the worst running teams in the country, and obviously you don't think about running the ball when you're this far behind. And Thorne is going to be swarmed, but without any threat of the run. And of course, it was Kenneth Walker running for 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns a year ago, and they were able to get so many shots based on that running game.
Yeah, and then you can just play different games up front with your defensive line, little twists up front, try to affect that communication, and it does, works. So sometimes you can create pressure and confusion for an offensive line without bringing that 5th or 6th pass rusher. That time just 4 with a twist game up front. Able to get there with good coverage downfield.
If you factor in the 3 sacks, the net rushing yardage for Michigan State -1. And Thorne is going to add to that negative rushing total. Michael Hall Jr. eventually slams him down at the 5. Quarterback helped to his feet. Spartans go backwards, and we'll have to send out the punt team.
Well, it's actually the outside pressure, the edge pressure from here and here that really impacts Thorne and what he wants to do. And you go again, look at all the defensive backs and linebackers in coverage. Rushing 4, nowhere to go with the ball. Poor 10, he's just running for his dear life. And eventually the winner gets home, his Hall.
Without any ability to run the football, they become one-dimensional really from the start. Not just because they're way behind. And the pass rush now really teeing off. and best, most productive player in the field is a punter, Behringer. That's not even a very good effort by him.
There we go.
Brutus, it's his day.
The state next week. Quentin Johnston had over 200 yards receiving in that game for the Horned Frogs.
Tremendous job by Sonny Dykes.
Doing a great job.
Taking over for longtime coach Gary Patterson. That's going to be one of the games of the year in the Big 12.
Will be.
Frogs.
It will be. I don't know if Oklahoma State's going to win today. They're playing Texas Tech right now.
Dallin Hayden with the carry. Looks like Henderson's day might be done. Bear, I want to go to you because you threw us a trivia question. C.J. Stroud today becomes the second player in the history of the Big Ten to have multiple 5-touchdown-plus passing games against one opponent. You know the only other guy to do it. Can you name the quarterback and the opponent?
I love how you're turning this on him.
You'll probably know it.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to say Drew Brees versus Northwestern.
No way. You're looking at a you're on a stat
I'm not.
Yes,
Billy,
you are.
I am not.
Billy, but are you telling him?
Yeah, I have our AD. I have Bill Bennell, Derek Mobley here. I am literally looking at the program monitor.
No, I'm not buying it.
And UCLA, Utah, and UCLA is just scored.
Can Billy hop on it? Is he cheating?
Wait a minute.
Is that cheating?
Wait a minute. No, he's indignant. Like Breeze was a decent guess, but the fact that you knew Northwestern.
Barry, you got problems, man.
It's 98 and 2000. So only one guy before Stroud has done that. And he's not going to sit on 5 touchdowns in this game. I think he wants number 6.
No, I think he's still going here.
Xavier Johnson and Rossi are in the backfield. It's a toss sweep to the receiver, filling in a tailback, and he makes a nice 8-yard gain on first down.
It just makes me wonder about Xavier Johnson in practice. You know, this is a guy that will do anything that he's asked to do. Consummate teammate. Everybody loves this guy. But I just wondered, does he get reps in individual at receiver? Does he go over with TreVeyon and TreVeyon loving him up there as he comes off, getting some reps? Because he can run routes. He can get in the backfield. Again, he does it. What a valuable piece of this offense, Xavier Johnson.
He's loving being in the backfield because he doesn't get that many chances to catch a pass with this receiving core. Stroud is flush, backpedals, and just fires to the bench. Holly?
Well, guys, Xavier Johnson is actually one of the best leaders on this team. Ryan Day was asked about who's really stepping up on this team, providing leadership for this road trip, the first road trip of the season. And he kind of listed off some guys that you might expect. And at the very end, he's like, Xavier, don't let me forget. He is one of the best leaders on this team. His voice is big and loud, and he does whatever it takes. He's become one of the true leaders on this team.
That's great stuff, Holly. There's so many different components to a football team. And college football has more guys than any sport on one team. And look, that's really interesting intel.
When you look at these teams that win, the perennial powers, players like that are invaluable.
There's Hayden, freshman back.
It's the backbone of your program. And C.J. Stroud would be the first one to tell you, man, as he had a day. Look at the form here. Kind of a jump pass for a touchdown to Marvin Harrison. His short arms it because the TreVeyon Henderson's in his way. He couldn't really step and follow through. He's shown that on the move he's very effective. Hasn't missed many passes. Another nice drop in the bucket here to Harrison, and then the last touchdown. Look at the pressure and how he just ignores it. Doesn't always throw it the way he wants to, but adjusts on the fly, changes the arm angle, and just keeps hitting completions and touchdowns. Missed only 4 today.
Hayden runs through a hole, and he's making the most of his opportunities, and he creates a 1st and goal for Ohio State.
You know what? This is another thing about this team is a guy like Julian Fleming. Everybody wants to catch the ball. Watch 4 on the far right. This is how you win your teammates over. Fleming is a big physical receiver. Watch the willingness. Keep watching him. Stay with him. Stay with him. Stay with him. Drive it to the end, trying to help that running back out.
Example of Ohio State, Kirk, just playing to their own standard.
Absolutely.
And not throttling back at all with the big lead. They fake it to Hayden. Stroud spinning, tries to create on the run here and just flips it. Why not just flip it in the area of Henderson? He comes down with everything. Harrison comes out with everything, and at that time incomplete. That's trust. We're just flinging out there. 2 was in the area, too.
Right. When in doubt, 18-2. They're becoming those kind of receivers for Stroud. Again, you keep thinking about when Jackson Smith and Jigba gets healthy, and he's gonna get healthy, and you throw 11 into the middle of all this on the perimeter.
You have a chance, though, if you could get him to pat the ball and then spin out and go on the run, you have a better chance of actually limiting him if he just stands in the pocket and delivers on time, right? Hayden barrels down inside the 5. It's just that he could also create in those free-form plays better than he used to.
Yeah, I think that's probably an area he's got more and more comfortable because he's a pocket passer. I mean, that's where, to me, he's in great rhythm. Nice job that time by the offensive line, just getting a good push, giving him a chance here now at 3rd and goal.
Day will just use a lot of the play clock before this call, and
he said 1 second, I want the timeout.
I feel like they're working on the red zone the last couple of weeks with future opponents in mind.
Got to tighten this
They're
up.
putting a whole lot of stuff on tape.
Yeah. 22 out of 24, whatever.
Nissan Heisman Watch gives you a look at C.J. Stroud's frighteningly efficient afternoon. 359, 5 touchdowns, had the pick 6. So he's thrown a pick in the last 3 games, but I think that can be forgiven, given the overwhelming positive plays that he's made. Ryan Day calling a timeout for this 3rd and goal play.
Big Josh Fryer running out there wearing that 41. He's an offensive tackle sneaking around out there.
Stover lined up next to him. Rossi in the backfield. They hand it up. Big fullback barreling forward. And Mitch, who's kind of an H-back, tight end, hybrid guy, knocked down at the 2.
I love when the fullback gets the ball, right? Old school. Brian Day showing we're not just about flipping it around all over the park for however many yards.
He calls a timeout to hand it to the fullback.
We're going to bring Stovar in, that
the
backup right tackle. That's the wrinkle. 41. Look at the big fellow over here. Look at it.
Yeah, 4th down. Stroud on the run. Scanning. Puts it back in the end zone. And it's caught for a touchdown by G. Scott. Big athletic receiver / tight end.
And it took him a little bit longer than I thought because the linebackers froze with the play action. You go big with all these linemen and tight ends. Of course you think they're going to run the football. Instead, he throws it now. He's open. You can't see him. He's open. And eventually he's able to get the ball to him just in time for Scott to get his feet down for a beautiful touchdown.
First career touchdown. 6'3" junior from Seattle.
Former wide receiver, put on some weight, moved to tight end, and there's a great threat at that spot.
They needed another weapon. I was sitting here thinking they got to get somebody else involved to make a play for this offense. Yeah. You can see it's a cool thing that the teammates are very aware when a guy makes his first career touchdown.
And here he is in the backside. Watch the action goes this way, and then he's able to boot away from that. There's 88. I mean, nobody has him from the very beginning. Linebackers are obviously impacted by the play action, and then they're just trying to run out there to try to help in case Stroud wants to run it. And there's the eyes. There's the vision. Eventually, he says, I got him. That's going to be a touchdown.
Why did he wait so long? Because you're right, he was open.
Yeah, I think he was looking to the play side. He had Hayden out there. He had Stover out there. And then I think he's just trying to draw the defense toward him and then work to the backside, which is where he found Scott for that touchdown.
So,
what is that?
Second consecutive year at 6 touchdown passes for Stroud against Michigan State. Take that, Drew Brees. And there's a lot of firsts and a lot of streaks. 45 plus for Ohio State. The post-war Wolverines, the last team in the conference to do that. Total yardage edge, Kirk, is 560 to 101. So they're going to blow away the 200-yard margin between themselves and their opponents, because that's going to be 5 straight games of that. Clemson, their 19 team, was the last team to have a streak. They did 8 straight games, a 200-plus yard edge each game. short kickoff, and Henry makes a cut and is knocked down at the 28. Tonight at prime time on ABC, Clemson Tigers with a home win over NC State on the road against BC. They got 3 of the next 4 on the road.
Yep. Big win last week against North Carolina State. I think they got their confidence. Be fun to watch DJ Uiagalelei and that offense, see if they can keep the momentum that they created a week ago.
Well, Noah Kim, the backup quarterback for the Spartans, will get a turn here late third quarter.
Ohio State,
sophomore out of Virginia,
still has the most of their starters in.
Kim is a guy who's trusted by the coaching staff. Jay Johnson said he has full command of things, and he would be trusted if Thorne goes down. They're just going to get him some reps with this game out of hand.
You and I often use some of the quotes from the Sunshine Scooter Lee Corso, and one of the things he talks to us about, against perfection, my friend. Ohio State, and anybody who you talk to about this game, I think most people thought, well, Ohio State, they're going to win pretty convincingly today. And sometimes that can seep into the mind of a team. Ohio State, we were talking at a break, much like Alabama, kind of showing up like it's a business trip, not worried about who's on the other sideline or what they're supposed to do. It's more of kind of a faceless opponent, and the term you use, living up to their own standard. Not really caught up in, oh, let's take our foot off the gas. You know, sometimes teams are vulnerable who are heavily favored. There's peaks and there's valleys. This team is showing a great deal of maturity through these first 5 or 6 weeks.
I think it's a great observation, and I think Day is excellent at pushing the buttons. He knew that everybody expected Ohio State to win this by 4 touchdowns, but it's our first road game, so let's see if we can take that toughness.
Always find something on the road to create that edge.
We've got a bye next week. And the stretch run begins. Kim launches and had a man running open, but airmailed it over the head.
This team, because of the way their season ended last year, and I got to keep reminding myself, this is our new era. They played in the Rose Bowl and beat Utah, but they lost at Michigan and lost a chance to win a Big Ten championship and go to the playoff. And so because of that, this team is playing with an edge. This team is playing like they're in a bad mood because of the way their season ended a year ago. They're showing it up every week.
Egbuka is standing at his 15-yard line. He's expecting Berger to rocket one really deep. It's a shorter punt. It's going to bounce. Got to get away from it if you're Ohio State. And Michigan State will eventually down the ball at about the 17-yard line. Holly?
Well, you talk about what it takes to make a team be really great, be a national championship caliber team. And I thought that Kevin Wilson from Ohio State, offensive coordinator, told us something really cool this week. He said, when we get so many different guys involved offensively, we just saw G. Scott with his first career touchdown. When so many guys are involved, they're touching the ball, they feel like part of the game plan. It changes everything. It changes the energy in meetings, changes the energy at practice. And he said, you know, you can't force that kind of stuff. You can't force it to people. But when guys feel involved, the team chemistry thrives. He saw that at Oklahoma when they played for a national championship when he was a coach there. And that's what you're starting to feel on this Ohio State team and here on the sideline. There is chemistry and vibe.
No doubt, Cal McCord. And Stroud's day is done. CJ will finish with 361 and 6 touchdowns to go with the interception. McCord, Day considers one of the top backup quarterbacks in the country. Doesn't get to do much except mop-up duty. Sophomore from New Jersey. 14 pass attempts. Final minute of the third quarter.
Kyle McCord is a good-looking young quarterback for Ohio State. Devin Brown behind him is a true freshman. I mean, probably the most talented, deepest quarterback room in this era of transfer portal that you'll find. Usually these guys, they get impatient. Their dads get impatient. They're ready to move on and find another place where they may have a chance to play. Stroud, another huge day.
So you're saying McCord's going to be good, so there's going to be no relief when Stroud decides to take his show to Sunday?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the kid has a lot of talent. The guy behind Devin Brown.
I'm just saying the rest of the league is waiting for there to be a drop-off of this position.
That's not going to happen. And then you got Dylan Raiola, he's son of Dominic, who is a beast at Nebraska, and for the Detroit Lions, a center. His son is the top quarterback in the junior high school junior.
I'm trying to think of Raiola having a quarterback as his son, right? He was.
I know.
You said beast.
Yeah, he's a big man.
He is a mean man.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
End of 3 here in East Lansing. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC station.
Who knows? He was fired up. He got on the big board. Wait till he finds out he's on national TV. He really will have a big time with that. All right, we got a quarter here to go. 3rd and 5, Chris.
Cord in the ball game. 2-by-2 receiver look, and he delivers a sideline. He threw it back into a dangerous position. Jaden Ballard made the catch in front of speed. It's short of a first down.
Ball brought him back. Pretty good effort there by Ballard, right, to make this catch. Ball is thrown his upfield where the defender, if he had his eyes turned, he would have been able to see that, maybe get a hand on, maybe intercept it.
Kirk, you have a Jesse Mirko sighting.
Wow.
Hunter for Ohio State is on the field for the first time this afternoon.
There he is. I know you have some.
The Aussie?
Okay.
Well, the folks watching Australia, where it's like 16 time zones ahead, they wait all game to see their guy do that. And he delivers a line drive kind of into traffic. Pretty good job fielded by Jaden Reed. He's an electric returner if he can get some space. Reverses field and is knocked out at the 30-yard line.
I'm glad he didn't pull a hammy. He's been getting close.
Ohio State proving to a 78% chance. Georgia sluggish for a while. They got going against Auburn.
Made a move, it looks like.
Michigan was tied 10-10 with Indiana, then pulled away to stay undefeated.
Yeah, so it ended up being 31-10.
Michigan will host Michigan State in a couple weeks. Noah Kim, and for Thorne on the run, delivers incomplete. Tried to
this place
hit McDonald.
It is cleared out. I'm telling you. I mean, there's
why is there a tone of surprise in your voice?
Well, I just realized I knew the students left, but I didn't realize the whole stadium has left.
Now there's some folks in Scarlet that are across there enjoying it.
Scores of dozens here right now at this point.
Tell you what, we talked about this place. Over the years, you've seen plenty of raucous environments. When the Spartans are good, they are extremely supportive here. But there's a little bit of a pro sports mentality. I think that they will certainly voice their displeasure. There weren't a lot of boos today because I think they knew kind of what was coming.
Yeah.
They showered this team with boos when Minnesota came in here and thumped the Spartans in what was the Big Ten opener. This is an 11-win team, and I think overall, Mel Tucker would tell you that it's still trending up. Recruits at this point putting together a good-looking class, facilities, all that kind of stuff. But this is not going to be the kind of follow-up season of the 11 wins he had hoped for.
Yeah, and it was it was an interesting year. They kind of caught lightning in a bottle. Mel Tucker had Kenneth Walker, who transferred over from Wake, and they had a big year offensively. He signed the long-term contract, and I think a lot of people wondered with the transfer portal, which he was able to take advantage of, is that something you can do every year? Mel talks about it being free agency like in the NFL, and you got to build with the recruiting, like a draft in the NFL, and then sprinkle in some of the transfer portal.
Yeah, they went back to the portal, back to the running back position. One field at a 16-yard line. We'll continue that. And USC in action as well.
Would add number 11, Utah. Not only on the ropes, but getting thumped to Rose Bowl by UCLA. 2 minutes to go in that game. It's now 42-25. Chip Kelly and the Bruins, so they're going to move up. Fun to see UCLA playing well.
Hayden knocked down after a short game. Talked about the Tigers being on the road in Chestnut Hill against Boston College. That's the red bandana game. He always honor Wells Crowther, the hero, number 11. So it's an emotional situation when the Eagles honor him, but a tall order against the Tigers. Hayden, most of his opportunities here, darts for a first down.
Yeah, good, tough runner. And again, it's just experience. Hayden, I think, has a bright future, and with Mayan Williams not able to play, and we keep seeing TreVeyon Henderson, who had a big day, is done for the night. We knew Hayden, as a true freshman, would get his chance to get a bunch of carries, and that is proving to be true. 10 carries already, 60 yards on the night.
I want to salute and remember a longtime member of the officiating community. Tom Zamorski was a 22-year veteran of ACC officiating. He was a school teacher, was also a coach, and he was our replay official a week ago for the Clemson win at home. And in the parking lot leaving that game, Tom suddenly suffered a heart attack and passed away, and we want to remember him. Send our condolences to his wife, Carol, daughters, Sarah and Jill, and Bill Lamagne, our rules expert in the booth. Well acquainted with Tom as McCord rolls out and makes the completion. And, you know, Bill, I know you were shocked and saddened. You had several conversations with Tom last Saturday night.
Last week.
And I've known Tom for a long time, and I had a chance to visit with him before the game, saw him at halftime, saw him after the game. And my heart's just broken, and my condolences go out to his wife, Carol, Sarah, and Jill, his daughters. Just a great guy on and off the field. He impacted so many lives as a teacher and a coach. Really going to be missed. So our condolences and prayers out to that family.
ACC officials are wearing a Z insignia to honor Tom Zamorski on their hats this weekend. This Big Ten crew having a conversation. It's a close-knit community. He would have been well acquainted with guys from various conferences, not just the ACC. Well, this performance by Ohio State, not unexpected. They came on the road and did exactly what Ryan Day wanted them to do. They were focused from the start. It wasn't a flawless performance, but you know, they'll go into a bye week and then begin Iowa and then a road game at Penn State. Those are the next two games for them.
And I think what we talked about a mentality of this team, I think, is, you know, being challenged every week. It's not just because you show up one week. It doesn't mean you're going to show up the next. I think one of the things that people are learning about Ryan Day, because he's never been a head coach for these last 3 or 4 years, is his ability to motivate his team. I mean, how often do you see an Ohio State team show up flat? I mean, Georgia just showed up a little flat when they played Kent State, when they played against Missouri. I mean, it happens. It's just part of human nature, part of college football. But to his credit, for the most part, it's hard to think over these last 3 or 4 years when Ohio State has shown up heavily favored and just kind of going through the motions.
He's undefeated against unranked teams. None of those letdown games that you're talking about. And they've lost to some great teams. Lost the championship game, of course, to Bama. Lost to Michigan a year ago on the road in Ann Arbor. But he's going to get to 40-4 in his career. And that's just the lone Big Ten loss in his career was that one in the Big House. And it'll be an anticipated day. There's work to be done before then. Talked about the game at Penn State, the game at Maryland, which is a week before the Wolverines come calling. Third and 2 here. Some backup offensive linemen in the game, blocking for Hayden, who's knocked down just short of the marker here. So it'll be 4th down across midfield.
Just want to hit Luke Wilson right there, 54. Out there, he's got his eye black on. It's Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator's son, who's getting a chance, came in as a preferred walk-on and has earned a chance to get into that depth chart, traveled, and a chance to play with this lead. They think he's got a great future here as potentially as a center, playing left guard right now.
Came by, said hello to his dad. He was sitting there having a meeting with us a couple of weeks ago, the postseason.
Good.
And move on. They can hold that lead.
And I can't keep up. You got 3 wild card teams now, right? So it's best 2 out of 3.
Yep. But this would finish.
It's been so long since the Reds have been in the postseason. I don't know the rules anymore of postseason play.
Marco with the punt, and Reed will watch it sail into the end zone. Tomorrow morning, Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. All access with Micah Parsons, the former Nittany Lion, who's with the Cowboys, and with Aaron Donald before those two teams collide. Then on Monday Night Football, Las Vegas Raiders got the W, visiting your guy Mahomes and the Chiefs. Divisional matchup, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Chiefs, of course, leading the division.
Remember last year it was, wow, what's wrong with Mahomes? People were playing back cover 2, making him be patient. He and Andy Reid have made adjustments after that. Look at the start that the Chiefs are off to and the start that Patrick Mahomes and that offense is off to.
Collins takes the handoff. These backup Spartans trying to get something going. They've had three and outs here in the second half. Even then the score is hopeless. You know, Kim trying to kind of show what he can do. He's got an entire quarter to work with, but hasn't been able to generate much, and now a holding penalty will back him up.
Holding. Offense, number 9. Half the distance to the goal for the previous spot. First down.
The tight end, Daniel Barker.
I asked Mel in our call yesterday about, you know, you win your first 2 and everyone's excited, and then all of a sudden you lose a few in a row. Now you got Ohio State, and you've lost, though at this point they've lost 4 in a row. The buy-in, you know, this new world of transfer portal and NIL. I mean, you always wonder, with teams that don't have a chance to win championships, can you still get the team to buy in and feel like they have something to play for? Or in some cases, do they check out? I mean, it's... And he said, oh, no, that's not an issue here. There's no problem at all with buy-in, and these guys are still completely invested, and you hope he can keep that going, because, you know, we see teams, you get to that halfway point, it becomes more and more challenging to get kids sitting at a 2-4 record. What do we still have to play for? It's, again, kind of a different mindset in today's player, and it's pretty valid, and these coaches have to try to fight against that every week when season's not going the way you'd hoped.
Kim delivers downfield, and it's complete. Catch made by Bernard. I was at practice yesterday. I didn't see any lack of buy-in. The energy was positive. No, I'm just saying that was yesterday. Yeah. It becomes more challenging.
Yeah, I just think it's. I'm not questioning at all. I'm just saying it's tough for all these coaches.
Well, absolutely. Foster makes the catch. I wouldn't think Tucker would dispute that. He believes he's got a bunch of guys who will fight and continue to compete. This is going to be, though, the 4th consecutive loss by double digits, and that's something that hasn't happened around here in a couple of decades.
Yeah.
Pointed to the recruiting class coming in. He wants to rely less on the portal and more on building through the recruiting class. But the problem is, these days, you got to continue to re-recruit guys. It's not signing day yet, and it's alarming for anybody. You know, you commit to a program and you see, wait a second, this isn't the 11-win team of last year. So you have to be on guard as a staff when things begin to go sideways.
And I think also you throw in that this new world of everybody trying to get to a playoff, or everyone trying to win a championship. You know, you want to, as a player, you want to play in meaningful games because that's what you've grown up with. You know, and I think as a sport, there's, you know, back in the 90s, early 2000s, there wasn't this focus on who's in the playoff and who's out. And that's why I think we've created such a focus on just the playoff that it makes these other teams that aren't in that chase at times feel irrelevant, you know. And I think that as coaches, that's what they are challenged with, trying to keep their players and their program engaged when they don't have the chance to chase those big goals.
And Mel was talking about, he's been at places like LSU. He was Saban's DB coach as a very young guy. Been at Ohio State, been towards Alabama and Georgia. He's been at 3 different stops in the NFL. So all he knows is sort of like the win or else mentality, right? I mean, there's no patience. There's no, you know, off years allowed at those places, right?
Yeah. He's lived it.
There's a long throw, and a catch made by Montorie Foster again is down inside the 30 of Ohio State. And Reminder in prime time. Clemson turned the corner. NC State kind of came in there to Death Valley last week.
Sure looked like it last week. Yeah. That's why I think it'll be exciting to see how they play today.
Cam launches down there, and the catch is made by Foster for a touchdown. So the backup quarterback able to direct a touchdown drive.
Yeah, but back-to-back throws. Nice throw the previous play going up and over Sonny Styles, and he fouls it up because good protection. Throws it into the corner right over the freshman Jair Brown, and before Proctor could come over and have a chance to make a play on that ball.
Kim is a guy, the very first patch of his college career was a touchdown to Mosley. Mop-up duty early in the season.
Foster, an Ohio high school player, played at the powerhouse of Cleveland St. Ed's, Northeastern Ohio powerhouse.
So Michigan State offensively scores their second touchdown. 5:40 to play.
Prime time on ABC after our game in East Lansing. Chris, back to you.
Thanks, fellas. Spartans not going to try the onside kick. They boot it deep. And Egbuka makes the fair catch. Well, if you want to talk about the House of the Big Ten, this is a play on House of Dragons. That's a television show that has to do with the prequel to the Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Just explain. Ohio State, of course, sitting in the throne because over the 10-year period, won the championship in 14, 4 CFP appearances, 5 Big Ten titles. That's Wolverines on the left, and Nittany Lions on the right there, trying to knock Brutus off of that throne.
Okay.
He has lived. You have a glazed look on your face.
I've never.
It's a nice animation.
Yeah, it was very cool animation. They're still the Wolverines, and the Nittany Lions are still out.
We may have time to, if I could explain the entire plot of Game of Thrones to you in the last 5.5.
That'd be great.
Actually, I would need to start at the beginning of the quarter. Remaining schedule after the bye and the chance to win, according to the FBI, considering it a virtual lock against Iowa and at Northwestern. These challenges Penn State, Michigan.
Penn State, Michigan, obvious. Where's that one game that you wonder, are they going to be locked in? Maryland on the road. Remember that game, because Maryland and Locks can score with Tagovailoa and those receivers. So if there's one game beyond the obvious of Penn State and Michigan, that to me is the outlier.
On the keeper, McCord is going to be hit hard twice and finally goes down.
Just want to correct myself. Talked about Kevin Wilson's son playing as Toby Wilson. Called him Luke Wilson. Zach, my son, texted me, you called him Luke. Of course, it's Toby. Toby, apologize. 6'2", 290. Just a stud out there getting the chance to play. I know his dad is very proud.
With the actor, you didn't call him Owen. You could have called him
Exactly. When I leave here, I'm going to go watch Old School. So I guess my head was in a different place there with Will Ferrell and Luke Wilson.
Sounds like a Saturday night.
I'll watch some football tonight.
Hand off inside. It's T.C. Caffey. Final 4 minutes. Well, they're getting some reps for Jesse Mirko, the punter. And he hadn't been busy. Cold on the sideline. They punted a few times here after halftime. Buckeye fans should be able to breathe a sigh of relief. And TreVeyon and Henderson went in that tent. It looked to be favored in that leg, but came out okay. And Holly's report that it was nothing serious or threatening. Dave McDonald is back to receive the punt and knocked down hard at the 26. Now a quick word from Cheez-It.
Man, I make this cheesiest chain look good.
I'm still feeling the cheesiest.
You are a wheel of cheese.
Cheese, feeling the cheesiest.
Interesting times in the Big Ten. Of course, Scott Frost fired at Nebraska. All Chris this week, and Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator, of course, the former Badger playing legend, very popular with the fans, takes over, and the Badgers, with a statement win, they go to Evanston and emphatically get his head coaching career off to a positive start.
You know, Jimmy Leonard is a defensive coordinator, is viewed as one of the top defensive coordinators in the country, and with Paul Chris, who we're all big fans of, and obviously wish the very best. It's an opportunity, and I think that interim tag is there for now, but I'm sure he's looking at this as an audition, and he starts with an emphatic win. And offense, I heard today, Graham Mertz had 5 touchdown passes, had great balance, threw the ball, ran well. And so took advantage of that first game anyway.
I mentioned it because they come in here next week, the Badgers, at Michigan State. And the Spartans will have to dig deep and find that energy.
I don't know if Billy has the Big Ten standings, but the Big Ten West, how about trying to figure that out? Nebraska right now, after firing Scott Frost, they're 2-1 in conference play. Won a close game last night, came back to do so. Purdue won a close game today against Maryland. They're now 2-1.
Mel Tucker hoping they can do away with that divisional alignment in the Big Ten very soon.
2 scores in the Big Ten. I think Illinois, yeah, they're later tonight. There's Wisconsin's win. Nebraska had the win last night. Couple scores late to do that. Michigan struggling early in Bloomington, then pulled away with a couple late scores, and there's that Purdue victory by a couple.
Reese Stockdale, excuse me, back to receive the punt for Ohio State. We had to dig pretty deep to find his name on the roster, and he's going to field it at the 22. Talked about the Big Ten standings, and so much of the power resides in the East Division again this year, with Ohio State and Michigan looking like strong playoff contenders. Penn State will be a factor as well. And in the West, yeah, Nebraska and Purdue. Can you imagine if Nebraska finds a way to Indy?
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Champions of the West.
Or what about Brett Bielema maybe having a chance? Michigan gets Penn State at home. They travel to Ohio State. Ohio State, of course, will go to Penn State for an early kick, and then they'll host Michigan later in the year.
Penn State, Michigan coming up next week, and then the Lions will host Minnesota in the whiteout game. They'll be there, Beaver Stadium for that one.
I feel like Penn State keeps the kind of forgotten team. I think people, when they talk about the Big Ten, they still want to talk about just Ohio State, Michigan for obvious reasons. But I'm sure Sean Clifford and James Franklin want to. Well, they'll have an opportunity. They have a week off, try to get healthy, and wasn't the prettiest effort last week. So they can regroup and get ready for that showdown next week.
No, it hasn't often been pretty for Penn State. Remember, they had to wrestle, come from behind, battle Purdue. That was a tricky opening game. They were able to get out of there with the W. Caffey, chance to carry a mop-up duty. So Ohio State does come on the road for the first time. Handles their business professionally, to use the word that you picked out, I think, very, very well. And it's going to be another resounding win at 29 points. Another 6 touchdown performance by C.J. Stroud, back-to-back years against Michigan State with 6 touchdowns. There's Jerry Emming, the sports information director. Appreciate his work.
Two years against Michigan State, 12 touchdown passes and 8 incompletions.
They're thinking, can you please go on to the next level? We've seen enough of number 7.
Well, Chris, it's been my honor. I appreciate this. This is a good week. Look forward to next week, wherever we might be. I assume we'll be in Tallahassee, right? Clemson and Florida State.
I didn't know with your speech where you were going with this. We made it through the game?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what
I just wanted to.
It's been a tough week, dude. I didn't see a touchdown Thursday. And then
did you enjoy overtime and 7 field goals?
I knew this was coming. At least that game was competitive.
You saw 7 field goals on Thursday. You saw 7 Ohio State touchdowns on Saturday. So there's some symmetry. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we expected it, and it unfolded that way, and Ohio State steamrolls on, and the Spartans lose 4 in a row now. Bill Bennell produced this game. Derek Mom